Joining us now is Jeff Weiss, an aviation journalist who hosts the Finding MH370 podcast. He's also the author of The Taking of MH370. Great to see you here. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
This is a huge mystery. I want to ask, it's been over a decade. Why revisit this now? What evidence analysis has changed the conversation?
Well, it's not entirely clear what new evidence has led Ocean Infinity to restart the search, but it is definitely worth doing. This is a nearly 12-year-old mystery at this point, but it is a very important one. If a plane can take off and then simply vanish into the air for reasons we don't understand, it really leaves a kind of scary hole open in the whole field of aviation security.
Why are they focusing, Jeff, on these specific 10,000 square kilometers compared to 250,000 during the initial search? Why have they narrowed it down to this area?
It's not entirely clear why they seem convinced that it's in this fairly small area. We do know that the entire search was predicated on these signals that were sent by a box that was turned off and back on again through a mechanism that we don't really fully understand. It's not something that any 777 pilot I've ever talked about would know how to do or would want to do. So there's a certain mystery about where these signals come from. They had to develop a whole new kind of mathematics in order to try to derive a location for where to look. And when they looked in that location, it wasn't there. So where they're looking right now is kind of on the outer fringes of where the probability distribution was. They're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel of where the math says this plane could be, but they seem to feel strongly enough about it that they're spending their own money to look for it.
Jeff, you have said if this current search fails, authorities should look at other explanations, for example, cyber hijacking. Talk to me about that.
Right. So when the plane disappeared, cyber hijacking of airplanes was a very novel idea. There was only a little bit of research that had been done on it. Now, of course, we see the cyber hacking of GPS signals all the time. We know that Russia, for instance, was planning to put incendiary devices on flights to the United States. There's been, all kinds of what they call hybrid warfare attacks against every aspect of Western industry. So really, I think we have to widen our sense of what is possible when it comes to planes. The 777 is one of the most cyber vulnerable aircraft that exists, and this plane was full of vulnerabilities.
Knowing that about the vulnerabilities 12 years ago, has aviation changed much since MH370 simply vanished?
Aviation has changed a lot. I think all of us have become a lot more aware of the dangers of hacking and cybersecurity vulnerabilities, and the industry has implemented a lot of safeguards. If this plane was cyber hijacked, then that vulnerability does not exist today. MH370 could not be played out in the same form today, but it's still worth knowing, has such an attack been carried out, and if so, who's the perpetrator and what happened to the passengers?
After all your reporting, Jeff, how confident are you that the truth will come out eventually?
I feel very strongly, this is just my sort of emotional feeling, but I do feel like we will solve the case. This is an extremely important case. There's so many thousands of family members who are just so passionately committed to making sure that this does get solved. And I think we really have to, in the wake of all of this failure to find it on the seabed, ask ourselves, is there another reason that we haven't considered? Once we start asking the right questions, I think we will quickly find answers.
Have you talked to family members recently in the last few years?
I have talked to some family members. They are a very diverse group of people from all around the world, and they are all dealing with it in their own way. Some have moved on. Some remain passionately convinced that their loved ones will return. And so we can't really speak of the relatives and loved ones as a unified group.
Sure.
But of course, this is deeply meaningful to them. It's deeply meaningful to all of us, to everyone who travels by air, to understand that the system that we use is safe.
What happens if this plane isn't found with this current search underway?
I think it should be understood for what it is, namely as further evidence to suspect that the plane is not on the seabed at all. And that, I hope, if that realization is reached, that will prompt people to start asking, what have we overlooked? What are the explanations that we could arrive at for this phenomenon that we haven't been willing to look at before?
With your investigations and just all the research that you have done, have you seen any vulnerabilities or something authorities may have skipped here?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the Prime Minister of Australia has gone on record on video saying that they believe that the only possible explanation of this case is that the pilot took the plane because the only way to operate an aircraft is from the cockpit, which is where the captain and co-pilot were behind a locked door. We now understand that that's not the case, that this is a plane whose electronics bay is accessible from an unlocked hatch from the passenger cabin.
Got it.
And once you go down there, you have access to all of these computers that operate the aircraft and are not protected by any security layer.
That is quite the discovery. Hopefully we learn something new in the next few weeks. Jeff Weiss, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.